This is CJ Ortiz with cjortiz.com and metalmotivation.com. This is the first of a 5-message series on a very important topic: meditation, creating a stronger mind to live a better life. Meditation is an important part of personal development. Meditation is not a weird thing. It's not just something that monks do or yoga instructors do. Meditation is something actually that you and I do each and every day, every moment of the day. In fact, you're probably meditating in some form or fashion right now. Meditate is taken from a Latin word, which means to contemplate. To make it simple, it means to focus your thinking in order to think deeply about something. Focusing your thinking in order to think deeply about something. I'm not just being redundant. There's 2 levels of thinking going on here in meditation, which is why I said again, it's something you're doing all the time. You see, if you're sitting here and you're worried about something, you're meditating. If someone says something to you that you don't like, and you spend the next several days mulling it over and over and over again in your mind, well, guess what? You're meditating. If there's a problem that you've got in your life, financial, relational, even physical, and you can't stop thinking about it, your mind goes over it repeatedly again and again, you are meditating. You are thinking deeper and deeper about any given subject, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Now, what happens when we think about things too much, when we mull them over too much in our minds and they are negative, we tend to amplify the problem. We exaggerate things. And when we do, it creates more worry, it creates more stress, it creates more anxiety, it creates more sadness, it robs us of our rest. Negative thinking. When we mull these things over again and again and again, we create our own form of torment. We don't need torment from the outside. We're very sufficient about tormenting ourselves, but we do it from meditation. That's what meditation is. Meditation is not simply you pulling yourself aside in a quiet place and thinking about nothing. That's not meditation. Those may be forms of meditation, not effective ones. Those are forms of it. But meditation is when you go over something repeatedly, when you think about it so much that the thinking becomes even deeper. You start drawing implications. You start making connections in your mind that may or may not necessarily be there, which is why meditation can distort your reality, whether good or bad. And sometimes it's good to have your reality distorted sometimes. In other words, when you are out to do something and you've never done it before, it's good to be a little overconfident sometimes, because that helps you to overcome some fear. Not exaggerated, but it helps you to overcome some fear. When it becomes detrimental to you is when you start to imagine things that are far worse than they actually are. Because if you begin to amplify things in your mind, making them far worse than what they are, that's the reality you start to live in. And when that happens, you become very depressed. Again, you become very anxious. You become very worrisome. All of these are the direct results of what you meditate upon. Again, meditation is something you do all the time. We all do it. The more we contemplate anything, the bigger it becomes in our minds. The more we contemplate, the bigger we make it. Whatever we focus on magnifies bigger, whether it's positive or whether it's negative. And so much so that this begins to distort our perception of reality. An otherwise simple problem becomes for some people the end of the world because we exaggerate it so much in our minds. This is the power of meditation. But the very same thing can be accomplished, as I said, in a positive sense. But the determining factor is the center of our mind. And this is where the focus of my teaching is going to be this week, on the center or the core of our mind. Because the more you contemplate something, the more you meditate upon something, the deeper it affects you. Surface thinking does not affect you deeply. The more you mull something over, the more rooted, the more established it becomes in your heart and your mind. The stronger the roots become, and therefore the more difficult it is to uproot from your life. So if you've had patterns of thinking over extended periods of time, that's why they still torment you. That's why they're much, much worse now than it's ever been, because these things are so deep-rooted. So we're talking about the center, using the power of meditation to affect the center of our lives for the positive in order to create a stronger mind, thereby creating a better life. In fitness, they refer to this as strengthening your core, which means strengthening and building up the areas of your body which determine and affect most movements in your life. So, for example, your lower back, your lower abdomens, the things that you lift heavy weights from, these are your core, all here in your physiology. This is your core. The stronger the core is, the stronger is everything else in your body. So you want to strengthen the center of anything. If it's a relationship, you've got to strengthen the center. If it's your body, you've got to strengthen the center. Emotionally, you've got to strengthen the center. When it comes to a business or job, you've got to constantly reinforce the center so that you can handle the tributary battles. You can handle the things that just happen on the surface. If you don't have a strong center, then very small things easily defeat you. If you don't have a strong center, then the little things that people say upset you. If you have a strong center, you're not moved so much by what people say. You're not moved so much by the small problems that you encounter in life. Doesn't it seem you got those people in life who the little things happen and it seems to upset their whole apple cart? These are people that do not have a strong center. When you don't have a strong center, you try to lift up something heavy, you injure yourself. You need a strong center in every aspect of your life. You must continue to strengthen your center. In meditation, that's the goal. Strengthening the center of our mind so that we begin to handle everything that confronts us psychologically and emotionally. Once the core or the center of something is lost, then the whole house will collapse. Right? When they bring down a building, they take out the core structure so you can bring it all down. This is true in your own life. You can withstand certain losses, both physical and emotional, if you have a strong center. If you have a strong center, you can deal with a lot. You've seen people who are I know some people now dealing with cancer, but they're able to deal with it and contend with it because their center is strong. If your center is not strong, then that's when you easily give up. It's about strengthening the center. So here's the goal of meditation, what I'm going to cover this week. Number one, strengthening, as I said, the center of your mind. Number two, manage and maintain your mind throughout the day. And number three, begin to release the power of your mind. Release the creative power of your mind. First, strengthen the center, then bridle your mind under control throughout the rest of the daily activities of life, and then begin to release the power of your mind to not just solve problems, but to come up with new vistas, new opportunities, new open doors for you to be blessed, to prosper, and to increase on every side. And also, I want to get this one point across, that for me, meditation is not about escaping the world. And I'm going to talk about this in the next episode. For me, I don't meditate to escape the world. I meditate to equip myself to invade it. The world is in need of change, and you and I are agents of change. The more we strengthen ourselves, we're not trying to escape the turmoil of life. We're pulling ourselves aside to meditate, to strengthen ourselves so we can go right back in and conquer it. Can you dig that? I hope you can.